bolster behind us. Let the heart begin to open up and over the bolster. The legs I'm not too picky on right now, so they can be cross-legged, they can be straight, they can be planted or toddler, lots of options. But just let yourself take a couple of really good breaths, right? The idea that we're playing with today is a desert flower. I've been noticing in my yard some really beautiful colors that come out of the cactuses. There's reds, there's yellows, there's bright pinks. And it's really pretty awesome to watch. When they open up, there's so much pollen inside. But I've noticed they're only open, a lot of them, for a day, and then they close off and they're forever gone onto the next stage of what they're working on. So imagine if you're a bumblebee, if you missed that one day, you missed your opportunity to pollinate and get that beautiful difference. So I was thinking about that in relation to how rushed we are in our lives, and maybe metaphorically, how often do we miss that one small opportunity to help someone or to make a difference, or even just to be present for that moment in our life. So the idea today is we're trying to be present with each stretch. We'll take it a little slower, a little easier, a little deeper today. The idea is just be present. How much can we be with the sensations? Letting our body dictate to us, and we need to go deeper or back off a little bit. So with that simple idea to help lead us on, let's start off with our arms. It's going to be like tracing a snow angel. Place the backs of the hands on the floor. We'll start to slide the hands up. Try to keep the backs of the hands in contact. Keep sliding up to the point where you're in a good shoulder stretch. Maybe the hands start to lift, that's the end, and then slowly come back down. Then start to synchronize the breath with it. Inhale as you slowly rise up. Exhale down. Feel how, because we're in the back bend, it puts the hands in a plane that's slightly behind where they normally might go. That helps to stretch the front of the deltoid, pectoralis area. Take one more of those. Good inhale. Exhale. And eagle's arms, the right elbow finds under the left. Try to wrap the palms. Push the shoulders down away from the ears. And then let the fingertips start to rise above the head. So this should be kind of our first really good neck and shoulder, top of shoulder stretch. Breathe into that spot for a couple of breaths. Unwind the hands. The elbows are still at 90-degree angles. Football goalpost open to each side. The elbows probably don't touch the ground because of the bolster, but just let the gravity pull them open. Moving through the pectoralis area again. Now left elbow under. Wind it up. Push the shoulders down. Let the fingertips rise above crown of. Wind the hands, elbows open to each side. Few easy breaths right there. Release, letting yourself fall over to a fetal position off the bolster. Scoot the bolster to the side. And grab one of the blocks. So for the block, we're going to place the block under the feet. So it's going to be a nice middle height. Sorry, go ahead and return onto your back. I did say roll off to the side. That was only just to get off. Sorry. So we're on our back, block under the feet. You're going to step on it, and this will make our bridge pose lift us a little bit higher than normal. So hands are on the floor by the hips. Yeah, you'll test it out the first one. Make sure your feet are placed on it in the spot that won't make it tip over. Okay, and then whenever you're ready, inhale, roll, starting with the tailbone, sacrum, roll one vertebrae at a time up. Exhale, roll all the way back. Take a few of those. Inhale up. Exhale down. Go 3 more. Along with our breath up. Down. 2. And 1. Beautiful. Grab your block with your feet on the floor. Lift your hips up one more time and slide the block right under the seat. So medium height might work. I personally can do tall height, but that's too much for a lot of people. So only do it if that's not uncomfortable. From there, we'll help to stretch the hip flexors. So the right heel is going to slide forward on the ground first. This stretch, because of how the hips are, it pops the hip flexors, the psoas area up, and then it's stretching it at the same time. Yeah, you like that one? Like we don't get into that area that often, so it's really nice. Okay, slide the right foot back in, left foot slides forward. When the leg is out, more or less, I try to just release all the weight of the leg down so it's not muscularly holding it anymore. Then from here, either slide both feet in or walk both feet forward. We'll be either in the bridge pose or this full kind of bow shape for just a few more breaths. Deep breath you're taking is perfect. That's, to me, one of the biggest tools I have to bring myself back to presence with the stretch. Just return to the breath. The breath is there with us all the time. Most of the time we're unaware of it. Start to walk the feet back in close. We'll remove the block off to a side, roll the hips back to floor. And then this is a moment of just kind of recovery for the hips. So it might feel nice just to rock the hips left and right. It could be nice to do windshield wipers with the knees, or even a happy baby with the grabbing onto the feet and rocking on that low back. So whatever feels helpful to kind of use as a recovery shape, go for it. So from here, we're working up to a seated place to transition. We're going to use the wall for a couple of stretches. So the shape that we're trying to, so this is not quite like the wall, so watch for just a moment first. The idea is we're trying to take kind of like a cobbler's pose, but we're flipped around, so it's the ground that's helping to push our knees open. So just note that in your normal cobbler pose, if your knees are higher, you're going to use more props to lift the pelvis up, so it's kind of simulating whatever this height is right here. So the idea is we're scooting right up to the wall. The feet are in that pigeon pose shape right underneath us. The knees are open, and then it's the bolster that's helping to lift, like I was mentioning. If you need it higher, then you would even do the blocks under the bolster, but you're setting the pelvis down, scooting yourself up pretty close to the wall. And if the toes, it's not quite working exactly how I described, you can just kind of stack them like this and just scoot yourself close to the wall. So that way you're in that open knee position. You want a blanket too, that can be really nice under the knees. So, lots of things going on. You even have 2 blankets today, so if you wanted one under each knee or whatever works, yeah. Good. But the idea is you're using the wall and the floor to help your inner thigh muscles and hips open out as much as they will today. Whatever foot position that means, whatever support of the bolster that means, we're helping it to open, and then it's going to be passive for a minute or so. So depending on what feels good for the head, maybe stack the palms and rest the head down, or add in a block. Got lots of props to play with, so use them. Get those inner thigh muscles. The chance to just ease passively open. You're not in the sensations that are as deep as you'd wish. Readjust. Scoot closer to the wall, scoot the bolster in a different spot. Whatever would help. Get just the right spot. For me personally, bolster under more like chest rather than hips is what gets me just a little. So next we're taking a frog pose and using again the wall and the floor. So you might need to scoot yourself just a little bit further forward so that way the knees can come into their 90-degree angles. So get yourself at that spot. Maybe it's the hips or the chest that have the bolster still. And then just make sure your inner thighs are in a really good opening shape as you're just relaxing. One more stretch here before we switch positions, one for each side. This one is trying to mimic this pose where you're balancing on one side, so the floor is trying to push it up, open like the cobbler, and then the leg will be that way. So it's mimicking that shape using the wall and the floor. So one set of toes is under your pelvis, kind of like that balancing shape, pushing against the wall. Your knee is open on that side, and then the inner thigh stretches there. And the idea is, again, scoot yourself close enough to the wall that by leaning forward, you're in the inner thigh stretch for your straight leg. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're breathing like that, you're probably feeling exactly what I'm trying to go for. Imagine that flower opening the petals. I imagine when it's a bud, it gets really, really tight. It's so uncomfortable to be in the tight shape that it's ready to open up. And that's our body. So uncomfortable to be so tight, and so it's ready to open. One more breath for this half. Got one more side with this one. So shift in whatever ways you need to switch the legs out. That second half. Right? Second, I have some tight areas. But imagine if like say there was one petal in a flower that completely resisted opening up and stretching. It's like that flower would look so funny. It wouldn't be symmetrical anymore. So it's by all of it being willing to balance itself out, open up. That's how we get the absolute beauty that we go for 2 more good breaths. Let's ease our legs out to a kneeling shape. Scoot the bolsters off to the sides. Flux one on each side just for squeeze in a little bit. Let's give the hips what they need at this moment. So maybe it's cat-cow, maybe it's more like hip circles. So after that deep, deep opening, there's going to be some tight stuff. So take a moment just to ease some of that out. Okay, when that feels good, as long as it's comfortable, come to sit on the feet for just a moment, but then tip your hips off to the right side of that. Left hand grabs left ankle. The left ear drops to left shoulder, and then right arm up. So left ear to left shoulder, and right. Got it. Beautiful. Leave the ear dropping down to shoulder, but then your right arm slowly returns. It might come to about shoulder height, or it might go a little lower than shoulder height, but you'll find a point where it pulls neck and shoulder in a stretch. So whatever angle that is, pause there and breathe for a moment. If you need to tilt the head slightly forward or backward to get your spot, that's okay. The head slowly eases up. Use the hands to help the hips shift to the other side. So right hand grabs the right ankle, right ear drops down, left arm reaches up and over for a moment. It's a good side rib stretch. But then as that left arm starts to return, you're looking for the angle that pulls the neck and shoulder stretch. Whatever angle that is, slightly higher, slightly lower. That pulls the neck and shoulder, that's where we pause. Up. Use the hands to pick up the hips, returning back to neutral kneeling. A huge cat. Nice cow. Neutral. Walk the hands forward to kneeling point. Lower from kneeling point, belly on floor. And then take a sphinx, elbows under shoulders. From here, we'll drop the chin down so this stretches the back of it. If it feels nice to rock the head, it's kind of rolling it to the left and right, that's fine. Other days, just dropping down is exactly what we start to walk the hands under the shoulders so we can press back to child pose. The spine, that nice stretch. Back up to kneeling. Cat. The toes lift up to downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up to sky. And separate foot between hands. Back knee can lower to ground. We'll use our blocks under our hands. Push the hips forward, just make sure the knee doesn't go past the front toes. This is another tip to get into that psoas area. I'll give you 3 options to play with. This is the first one. This is honestly one of my favorites, so nothing wrong with just staying here. If you like how it deepens it, you could walk hands up to the thigh. And the third option would be using a supported back bend. So with that one, you would scoot the blocks backward to a point where you can still rest your hands on it so that the heart can also have a chance to arch up and back, but you are supported. So this would still be hips pushing forward. Good. Yeah. So it's like a crescent moon, but it's not quite so intense as your hands being up above you. Yeah, it's still intense. Yeah. So if you like one of the other two, that's fine. Give it 2 more breaths. And whenever your second exhale finishes, take it to a half split. Maybe the blocks under the hands, maybe hands to the floor, whatever works best. We'll switch the legs. Go for a downward facing dog. The hips up nice and high. Left leg reaches up. And step that foot in between the hands. Start off with the first place to walk under the hands. Just try to push the hips forward, get into that slow as yeah. Option to move hands to thighs, or try that back bend version if you want. Doesn't have to be coming all the way to here if you like how the other side go. Two more breaths wherever you're at. The second one, half split. Use blocks or not. Taking this leg back, another downward facing dog. Pull both legs a bit more stretched out than earlier. Pedal the legs if it feels helpful. This one's going to be one of those that you can stay here a bit longer if it feels good. At some point, we'll make our way up to top of mat, but there's not a rush to get there. When your body feels like the forward fold would be the most helpful spot. Good. So if you're in the perfect spot for your body, that's great. Only if it would be helpful to add on, maybe the hands walk over to the outside of the right foot or grab onto the outside of right leg. The right knee can be a little bit bent. This is mostly stretching the left. Good. Walk through the center over to the left. And the left knee could be a little bent. The center, take a good breath in, out, to rise, hands to heart. Bring the block to low height in front of you. We'll use that to help us stretch our calves. The second block is just kind of there if we need it to kind of help us out for balance. So let's put the left foot up. The right foot is stepped back to a comfortable distance. And then the idea is we're leaning forward, maybe use the block to help us out, but by leaning forward, we're in a pyramid pose, so it is hamstring, but also because follow foot is lifted, that's also calf. So I try to get the heel down to the ground, but sometimes calf won't allow. If you need even higher, you can stack the block on the other block. Yeah. Yep. It's like, hello, calf. I'm stretching you out today. Exactly. Exactly. The calves get really strong from high heel, but they don't always get stretched very well. Switch, softly bend the knees, roll up, and try to keep about the same distance you just set up. So as you switch out, so right ball foot up, and start to ease forward. Even if you just pause, just resting hands on thigh, that's fine. If you get to the block stack, that's fine, or block on floor. Bend your knees, rise up. Good. So pick up a block in each hand. We're going to use the blocks for a little bit of arm stuff. So step up to just an easy balance point. The balls of feet close together, heels slightly separated. We're balancing these like trays, and there's going to be a couple of things where we kind of swivel in and out. So the idea is try to keep it balanced. So first and foremost, just go forward, just a little bit of weight here. We're going to take a fierce pose. So just make sure knees don't go forward of the toes. So instead the hips go back. We're just trying to balance those. Scoop the tailbone under a little bit, that protects the low back. Good. So now stand, float the right knee, balance. Good. That's okay. And we're going to do that swivel thing as we get back to warrior three. So circle in to extend the arms out. Airplane arms, kick the leg to balance. Warrior three. Hard, I know. And uncircle as you land back, warrior one. Arms go back forward. You got it. Lift just a little. Good. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. This is a little bit of arm strengthening. We're pulsing in and back out. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lots of blocks together in front of you. You lift that up overhead. This keeps the shoulders about, or the hands about shoulder distance. So now your torso leans forward just a little, just a slight challenge for the body. Good. Lift back up. Shorten the stance back to warrior one. We're going to balance our way through a warrior three to that right knee floating. Good. Now reset your grip to the base of the blocks. Set the blocks down, standing split. Work. Land the feet next to one another. Soften the spine for a breath or two. Pick up the blocks with you to roll the spine up and open back up to the tree. One more side. This is kind of the challenge section of the class. Forward. The knees behind the toe level. Fierce pose. And stand, float left. Warrior three, circle the hand arms in and back. And then reverse to land. Warrior one, slight lift. And open warrior two. Pulse in and back. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Clap the blocks together. Up overhead. Slight tilt forward. And up. Hips forward. Good. Get a balance forward. Warrior three. Breathe. To the float to the knee. Reset the grip to the end of the blocks as you set them down. Standing split. Land the foot. Soften the spine. Forward fold. Option to get one of your blocks under your feet if you think that you might want to go further down, but just give you extra reach. So no pressure if you don't want to. The other block can absolutely be there to just make sure you don't, like a cane, you make sure you don't fall over. Good. Soften the knees. It challenges the balance a little bit to be on the block, so slowly roll up. Just a moment to clasp hands behind the back. First, try to straighten back a little bit. This kind of pulls the shoulders back. So try to see if hands can go away from glutes for just a moment. Good. And then elbows can bend again. Take it to the right waist or the right hip. And then drop the right ear to reach. Back to that neck area. Again, if you need to tilt forward or back to get your spot, go for it. Head up. Hands to left hip or left waist. Left ear to left. That comes to release. We're going to use the wall for a couple of stretches. The bolster will be right up to the wall this one. Also have the blocks close by. So your right knee is going to end up on the bolster. The knee further to the front of the bolster is going to be an easier position. Trying to scoot the knee all the way up to almost at the wall, lifts the toes higher, so it makes it a little deeper. Yes, knees go up on it. If you need to drop to the other knee for just a moment to help you set the right knee, that's fine. Okay. And then we'll replant the left foot. I know, it's funky positioning. Like, what are you doing? You got it. Okay, so you probably are starting to feel right quad already. So lots of variations in exactly how this can look. Just pushing forward, hands propped up like this is perfectly fine. You feel that quad stretch, you're good. Kind of like before, if you walk hands to the side, that makes it a little deeper. Or hands balancing using the wall is the deepest, but don't feel like you have to go there. It's just how deep you need to go to get into the quad. And like I mentioned, if you need to just scoot the bolster or the knee forward, that's absolutely allowed. That would make the right knee a little bit more. So here for that quad, just a little bit longer. What that version looks like. Make sure the right knee is not in pain. Let me know if it is. front leg, we're going to transition it into a pigeon pose. So start to swivel it over until the knee can set down. The pigeon pose is a little different with like having the bolster there. It changes how the hips are set up. So this could be an opportunity to be in a back bend if you like that. Or sleeping pigeon at any point is perfectly fine. That gets really nice at the hips. Yeah, if you're totally uncomfortable at the back knee, you can just scoot forward to normal pigeon. That's fine. Okay, yeah. If you need to just come and just scoot forward, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. That's okay. No pressure. A little while for this hip. Think of all the variety of places that we've touched on in this short amount of time. We've gone from the neck, the spine, psoas, the hips, the quads, the calves. So many things beautifully opening. Just think of it like the petals of the flower opening so nicely. An invitation for this last little bit that we do have to still return to present. So 3 more breaths, right? For all 3, get out however you need to. So you can tilt to the side or scoot forward. Take it so that you have a little moment of recovery for the hips again. So maybe wagging your tail or doing a couple of hip circle things. Just loosen things up until eventually you're ready for the second side. When you're ready, scoot the left knee back this time. You don't have to be all the way to the back of the bolster if you don't want, but once you get the knee in place, right foot plants. Options are hips push forward. Second option, hands to the side. Third option, hands to wall. And what feels okay and good for this. Knee further forward or hips further forward makes it a little easier for the quad. Start to turn the front leg into pigeon pose shape. Back bend for a little while or just drop down sleeping pigeon. Good. Start to head out. A little recovery moment. Amazing how if we stop resisting it, it's like the time flies in the different stretches. As long as we resist it, we're like, how much longer am I here? Okay, we'll take one last stretch. This is just our last stretch for the hamstrings. So options, the easy version is just sit on the bolster Lean forward, maybe using blocks in any height. The option, if you're not wanting to sit on the bolster, you're wanting to go a little deeper, would be create a little fort and then just lean forward onto the fort instead. So it just depends on how your hips are today with keeping your spine upright or not. There's one leg for both of those hamstrings to communicate together. Any supportive props feels good if you want to use them. If you don't want to use them, no pressure. Even if, yeah, just letting the neck lean forward again to that final stretch for it. Stay here a bit longer if this is in your spot. Any point that you're ready for Shavasana, you can take final stretches or just go straight to Shavasana. It can look like whatever you want. We have lots of props and we have the wall. If you want to do legs up the wall, great. If you want to lay on the bolster or create a ramp with your props, any of that's fine. It's just whatever would be the best good for your body today. Returning to presence. Imagine the bumblebee has to do a little bit of work to wander all around, try to find the flowers that are open today. If it was just lazy or not paying attention, it would be so easy to miss. Especially those flowers that are only open for a day. But just returning to the zone, present, breath, this moment. By that return, able to find the beautiful flower, work in harmony with it for this day. Next few minutes, the chance to be in harmony with our body, let everything integrate together. Just And a deep inhales and exhales. Use little movements to the body. Stretch out in ways that feel really good. So fetal position off to one side. Another breath or two, only when you feel ready. Comfortably rise to an easy sitting spot. Hands to heart. Turn to presence. Check in with this beautiful body. Feel how perhaps energy has shifted from this hour of self-care, self-love. As we head forward, we remember the desert flower, beautiful cactuses blooming just for a day. You blink, you miss it practically. Returning to presence over and over again, checking in with our body as we head forward, checking in with our breath. Reminds ourselves to have more patience and to ask, does this really matter that much? Argue my point, to fight for something. Sometimes things are so fleeting, better just to love the people around us. So with these ideas, these thoughts to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.